Am I the asshole for offering my stepkid's mom to pick up my child? All the names are fake for privacy. I, 29F, gave birth to a lovely baby girl called Mariam, fake name for privacy. Newborn girl, on June 2025. This is BM's first time collecting my stepkids from mine. And Tony's, fake name, house since. Tony would usually go to drop off and collect them ever since. I gave birth to my daughter. When BM came to collect the kids, she knocked on the door and I came over with Tony to greet her. We were civil, and then I said to her, look, I just gave birth to my daughter last month. Her name is Mariam. Isn't she so adorable? Do you want to pick her up? BM got angry and said no, I don't ever want to pick it up again. She referred to my baby as it. And don't ever ask me again because the answer will always be no. I got upset and told her alright. I was only asking. I just thought you would want to get to know your kid's new sister. She corrected me and said half-sister so. I told her, she's still their sister regardless of blood. Why would I get excited over a affair child who is a reminder of your affair? I don't want anything to do with her. I said back, alright, but stop yelling at us. It's not her fault she was born under those circumstances. I thought my husband would side with me, but instead he said, don't worry Pam. Just go and take the baby inside. I did exactly as he asked, because I didn't want to expose Mariam to someone that doesn't like her. I get that I shouldn't have had an affair, but my baby doesn't deserve to get punished because of me and her dad. It's unfair to hate on an innocent baby like that. Tony just told me, well, I didn't expect her out of all the people to be excited, but we just won't bring the kid out next time. Then left it there. Maybe I shouldn't have offended her to hold my baby. I just thought she would like to meet my child and put her feelings aside for Mariam. But I was wrong. Am I the asshole? Edit. I fixed a typo. I meant to say 2025, but I accidentally typed 2024. AITA for not letting my ex's family see our kids for the time being. I lived with my ex's sister. She was sober when I moved in. She relapsed. I ended up spending 2 weeks catering to her to get her sober. She ended up taking pills, snorting coke and smoking crack in the house while my son lived there, and she knew I was pregnant. I sent my son to live with my mom, reported her to Child Protective Services, and moved out. My ex told her that she had to be completely sober before she could see or know about the kids again. She said that's not fair. We told everyone that she wasn't allowed around the kids nor know anything about them. We found out that his aunt had cancer. She then told his mom that she was snorting coke. My ex then told her that she had to follow the same rules his sister did. I would like to say that neither of them were blocked on Facebook, so they could still see the post we made about the kids. Twice each of his parents told them about things involving the kids. Later I got a call from my ex. His sister and aunt knew more than they should have, but his mom was showing them pictures. I messaged his mom to see if it was true. It was. We were both told that there shouldn't have been any rules to begin with, that they knew how to raise children. Their eldest child is a raging racist alcoholic. Next is an addict, sex and drugs. Has been in trouble several times and uses people any chance they get. Next is a raging asshole who is abusive to women. Their last is an addict, pills. Was in juvie, was more of a holding place to manage aggression several times. Severe anger problems, has been to prison 8.5 years. Only cares about themselves and abusive to women. They did several things that I let slide. For example, they told me they were taking him to go see their great uncle. When they came back, they showed me that they took him to see Santa. I have been more respectful in my responses than I probably should be. I have explained everything to them several times. They said his sister and aunt should be allowed around them, whether they are on drugs or not. That what his mom did was just a mistake and an accident. His family isn't the only ones I've given warnings to. I have told my dad and sister they would not be allowed to be around them if they kept going. Keep in mind, this is all supposed to be temporary. His family says that we are hurting them and the kids. I told them that inconsistencies and lies will only confuse them and put them in situations they shouldn't be in. I have told them that when I am healthy enough, I have heart problems. I will have a conversation with them about what needs to be done for them to be involved with the kids again. I want my kids to have the fullest family they can have, but only if they are going to be good for them in their lives. I want things to be resolved so that way his family can be around them. So, am I the asshole for telling my exes family that they can't have anything to do with our kids for the time being? Am I the asshole for not agreeing to my aunt's wishes? I 17, FTM, am going to be 18 soon and I am in college also. So I am slightly independent and am living with my aunt. She 40, F, said that even though I'm trans, she doesn't want me to change my name to anything other than the initials AMG, which she is because my abusive and narcissistic mother accidentally named me at birth those initials and my preferred name is not aligning with those initials, so she doesn't want me to change it. So, am I the asshole for wanting my name to not have the same initials as hers, even though she feels connected to me through our shared birth initials? Am I the asshole for taking back my car from my brother after he wrecked it and won't pay? So I let my brother, 27M, borrow my extra car for a month since he moved to a new city and needed something to get around. I told him up front he'd be responsible for any tickets or damages. He agreed. 2 weeks in, I get a $300 speeding ticket in the mail. Then he calls me saying he barely tapped a pole. I ask for pics and there's a huge dent in the side, like easily an $800 plus fix. I tell him he has to pay for both like we agreed, and he flips out. Says it's my car so I should deal with it. Also accuses me of being unsupportive and claims I'm rich, so it shouldn't matter. I'm not. So yeah, I drove over. Took the car back and told him I'm not helping further unless he pays up. Now he's mad, stranded, and calling me an A*****. Am I the asshole? Am I the asshole to saying no to my brother who wants a child? I, 25F, have been a guardian to my 9 siblings, a lot of damn kids. My oldest brother, Max, 29M, got married 5 years ago to his wife, Quinn, 29F. All my siblings live with me since. I got kicked out at only 12 by my abusive parents. I took care of them, not wanting them to end up like me. I have agreed once everyone is stable and old enough they can go. My brother recently wanted a child as a joke. After a few months, my sister-in-law followed that. I don't have space and the right amount of money to bring a child. Stay with us. Yes, now this is their decision, but it's also my house. I never liked children and always liked being introverted. My cousin has also had a baby. They don't live with us. I never was really close to the baby because of my autism. I don't like loud noises. When my brother said he wanted a baby, we sat down and I told him he doesn't have a house, neither the care. He has a 9 to 7 job, and so does his wife. I told him he should first figure out his job, but he then yelled at me for being selfish. Our house couldn't fit another person and nonetheless a baby. I told him he should get a house first. I told him to calm down. He told me it was just jealous because I was kicked out for being a brat. I was like, okay, damn, but I knew I was right. No child should be born if you can't take care of it. His wife called me a hole, which was weird since she had cheated on him before. I told them to get out because they were honestly scaring my other siblings, which were behind me crying. They called me a monster, then proceeded to walk out of the house. Am I the asshole for refinancing my car without my mom's knowledge? I, 20M, never got along with my mom, 67F, to the point where I felt that she was a mini landlord to our landlord. 2 years ago, I financed an older car with my mom. She didn't have the best credit, so my APR was high, 19%. I was making on-time payments. There wasn't a single month where there was a late payment. Refinancing was always on my mind ever since March of this year, so I started inquiring with other banks. Some gave me 29% if I was the only person on the loan. Others refused if my mom was on the loan. Others refused regardless. On Friday, I decided to try out a bank which I already had a credit card with, and I was offered a 10% APR for 24 months. I know it's still bad, but I'd rather take this than the current 19% I'm paying for, or 29% for 60 months. I signed everything and approved the loan. Today, I got a letter regarding the process and my mom inquired about it. I told her the truth. I refinanced the car without her being the co-signer. It was only me on the loan. I told her the truth, expecting her to not care or even be happy about it. I only told her I did it because it was cheaper to finance. However, there were tons of reasons why I did so, like lower payments and a prior issue where I got kicked out of her house twice. I live with her. However, I pay 45% of the rent, and I had to give her the keys since she was a co-signer. I can explain more if needed. She wasn't happy about it at all, and knowing what happened in the past, being kicked out could happen again. I personally felt that what I did was justified, not only just in case something bad happens to me, especially since I don't have anybody that could help me, but I was the one making the payments. The car was supposed to be for me. I knew that talking to family members would be biased towards her, so I talked to some of my peers and they both understood what I did and why she was mad. So I'm asking the internet if I messed up. So Reddit, am I the asshole for refinancing without telling my mom? Am I the asshole for confronting my parents about my brother's lies? Hello, I'm 20M, and I have never really had a good relationship with my older brother Vince, 24. Recently, I found out that he's been telling our parents things about me that aren't true, accusing me of being lazy, dishonest, and irresponsible, as well as many other horrible things. I overheard some of it, and it really hurt because it painted me in a bad light and made our parents distrust me. When I confronted Vince, he denied everything and accused me of trying to stir up trouble. I felt like I couldn't just sit back and let him ruin my reputation, so I told my parents what I had heard and asked them to hear me out. Now there's a huge fight in the family. Vince says I betrayed him and broke the family trust by snitching, and my parents are frustrated because they don't know who to believe. Things have become tense, and I'm not sure if I handled this the right way. For context asterisk, I think Vince is trying to stir up trouble because after our dad retires, the family business CEO role was promised to me, not him. This was partly because I was there for my mom when she was sick while he couldn't be, because he had a job in LA and a family there. None of us blame him for that, but my parents still want me to take over the business. Vince didn't care about the manager role until he got fired from his old job. After that, he said the role should be his because he's the oldest, and that he couldn't uproot his life in LA to move to Colorado for the job. We all agreed on that part, but the decision had already been made and was based on several reasons, one of them being I was more responsible and trustworthy. So I think Vince is trying to badmouth my name so he can become the CEO. Am I the asshole for confronting my parents about Vince's lies? Am I the asshole for not supporting my wife's side hustle? My wife has a part-time job and a few side hustles, one of which is photography/social media for a singer. She gets $50 per show worked, but all shows up until this point have been within 20 miles and on a weekend. This week, the singer has booked a midweek gig at a venue that's 400 miles away. So my wife would drive herself, pay for half the gas. One other band member wanted to ride with her and missed 2 days of her part-time job for only $50. Essentially, we would be losing income and paying out of pocket for her to work. She states that we never discuss loss of income, gas cost, and vehicle wear and tear when we go on a family trip or vacation. But I said those are planned recreation, and we're not going there to work, so they are different. She's also afraid if she doesn't cover this show, he won't work with her in the future, and this work is something she enjoys doing. Am I the asshole for telling my mom I don't want to go to her doctor's appointment with her? My mom, 56F, today had to go to the doctor to get some studies on some lifelong arm pain. I, 20M, was exhausted and in a terrible mood since I had to work a 9-hour shift at a Chuo cafe last night. She asked me to go with her since my other siblings were busy. I told her that I honestly didn't want to go since I was exhausted and I was going to be in a terrible mood if I tagged along. My mom got extremely angry and called me a selfish prick. My brother and her were talking about how shitty I am in front of my bedroom's door, so I ended up actually going with her. But we argued all the way to the doctor and the way home because I was telling her that she was being manipulative and mean. I would like to see your perspective. TLDR, I told my mom I didn't want to go with her to a doctor's appointment because I wasn't in a good mood and overall exhausted from a 9-hour shift at my job. She called me a selfish prick, and I ended up going with her out of peer pressure. Am I the asshole for asking for my dead sister's ring back after my brother used it to propose? My sister died when I was like 6, and she was 17. We weren't super close or anything, but I still remember little bits of her. Her laugh, how she always painted her nails, her posters. She was like this perfect angel to my mom after she passed. I barely remember the funeral. When I was like 12, I found this old ring in her stuff. Nothing fancy, just a silver ring a small stone. It fit me and why, but I kept it. It wasn't some big dramatic thing. I didn't steal it or anything. I just took it and started keeping it. I didn't wear it loads or flaunt it. Just had it in this little box, and sometimes I'd look at it when I missed her. It kind of became this one thing that felt like mine, like my piece of her. So anyway, last weekend, we had this family lunch and my brother, 27M, brings his GF, who everyone knew he was going to propose to. And yeah, he stands up, does the big speech, and pulls out the ring. My sister's ring. The one I've kept for like 7 years. I literally froze. His GF starts crying, PPL are clapping. I'm just sat there like WTF. I look at my mom and she just smiles at me like nothing happened. After dinner I ask her, was that the ring? And she's like, yeah, your brother asked me and dad, and we said it was fine. She said it was sweet and symbolic. And my sister would have wanted it passed down or whatever. And I was like, it was never yours to give though. Like I've had it for years. And she just goes, oh come on, it's just a ring, don't be dramatic. But like when I had it, it wasn't just a ring. So yeah, I kinda snapped. Waited till PPL were outside and told my brother I wanted it back. He laughed at first, then was like, no WTF. And I said, okay, well then I'll tell your GF where it came from and let her decide. He got mad, said I was ruining his proposal and making it about me like always. My mom dragged me into the kitchen saying everyone noticed I wasn't happy and that I left halfway through dinner. Yeah, BC, I was crying in the bathroom like. Dad tried to calm it down, but my brother kept going on about how selfish I was and that I'd been weird about my sister for years. I didn't even say anything, I just left early and haven't spoken to any of them since. Mom rang me yesterday, saying have I calmed down and am I ready to say sorry, and I said not really, and she hung up. My cousin texted me later, saying it was actually super messed up, and she doesn't blame me, but I probably could have handled it better, but I just felt so blindsided. It's not even about the stupid ring, it's just like, they acted like it didn't matter to me. Like I didn't matter. So yeah, am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for pouring my girlfriend's mom's soup through a colander so I can pick out some vegetables I really don't like? My girlfriend's mom made us a seafood chowder for lunch while we were visiting. She made it before once, and it was really good. But she adds a few pieces of ginger to flavor it, and I really hate biting into ginger. I don't mind the flavor it imparts. I just hate the taste of actually eating a piece. Last time, I accidentally bit into one since they were hard to see. Because the chowder was a creamy, thick soup, and it almost ruined the whole meal. So this time, before eating, I asked if she used ginger again, and she told Mimi she forgot that I didn't like it, and forgot to pick them out at the end. She seemed genuinely apologetic about it. I told her it was no problem, and I had an idea. I saw a colander hanging on a rack on the kitchen counter, and I went to the kitchen and strained the soup into another bowl, which I asked if I could grab, and picked out the couple pieces of ginger and dumped the remaining strained pieces of potato and fish and shrimp and scallops and stuff back into the liquid. I even said sorry for the extra dishes and offered to help clean up afterwards. Her mom didn't react like it was a big deal. Anyways, on the drive home, my girlfriend was quiet, and I asked her what was wrong. She told me I didn't have to be such an asshole and make a big show and dance about insulting her mom's food. I was what? I liked the food, except for a couple of ingredients. Still didn't smooth things over though. Am I the asshole? I told my husband I did not want to host his student at the house. I'm not sure whether I'm TA here. My husband is a professor and he often hosts colleagues at our house. I usually know and like them, so I don't mind this. My husband also will do 90% of the work to make this happen, room prep, food, etc. He also co-supervises students from out of town / out of the country. He's a very kind and generous guy, and super extroverted. and likes to host them at the house, and says hotels are so sterile and impersonal. Just some context to set the stage. I am generally okay with this, but asked if we can skip hosting students. Because it's more stressful and awkward. Because I don't know them. Either way, we agreed that he needs to run it by me before he commits. And then add to our shared calendar, we have a lot going on, so we can coordinate. Well, he either forgot to ask me about this upcoming student, or I forgot he asked. Honestly, either is possible. Either way, it was also not on the calendar. In addition, we currently have been hosting out-of-town friends for the last 10 days. Sandwiched between travel, me, before they arrived. Both of us after this student leaves. So it will be 2.5 weeks. That we will not have the house to ourselves when all is said and done. AITA for asking for this student to stay at a hotel? He says he'd already said it was okay and feels bad reneging. Why I might be TA? I asked my husband to have one of his students stay at a hotel, even though he already committed to hosting them at our house. It means a lot to him to be able to host students and colleagues like this. And that's how he has been treated his entire career, including when he did his master's and doctorate. But I'm exhausted and tired of hosting. Am I the asshole for not paying rent? I, 17F, recently got a part-time job to help cover my personal expenses, like saving up for driving lessons, a car, university, days out, shopping trips etc. You get my point. However, this job doesn't pay very well. It's minimum wage and I get my hours cut often. I often only bring in around $250 to $350 a month. And my parents want me to pay $100 for rent a month, meaning I'll be averaging only $200 a month to save with and live off of. They think I owe this to them as it's now my responsibility to make a living. But I disagree, as they are still legally responsible for putting a roof over my head and feeding me. They said if I don't leave, I can get out then. Or I can buy my own food, and if I don't, then that's my own problem. It's now causing major issues in my family as of course me. Saying no is disrespectful and a disgusting attitude problem. And in starting to believe that maybe I'm in the wrong. So am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for not labeling my pocket knife as not safe for food? I work with pesticides and keep a knife on my belt for work. I often use this knife for opening pesticides. My roommate needed to open a foot package, and my knife was more convenient than walking to the kitchen, so he used it without asking. When I saw my knife removed from my belt, I asked why. I told him never again to use it because of the pesticides. He says I am the because I should have labeled it. Am I the asshole for being petty in my mom's FB comments when she hasn't been in my life? 20F. I've been on my own since I was 15. And even before then, my mom wasn't around most of my life. Or even when she was very neglectful and a bad parent. Well, my mom was young when she had me. And because of the way I grew up, I understood my mother was a hurt person too, going through her own stuff. And that maybe she just wasn't one of those people who should have had kids. I understood that from a very early age, and because of that, I detached from my mom. Because she didn't act very motherly, and more like an older sister. So, that brings me here. My mom, for years, has done this thing of pretending to be a parent. Or in my life, when we haven't hardly spoken in years. Then she'll turn around and post pictures of me on Facebook and act like she loves me and misses me. The first few times, I absolutely fell for the bait. My mommy had missed me. She was finally reaching out and showing everyone she loved me again. And she wanted to make a change and be there. It felt too real because she posted it. And she was telling everyone she was going to love me, so it felt real. I only then learned it was because my mom liked to be viewed as a good parent and a mom who could go through it all with a bad teenager and come out better and stronger for whatever she went through. So, the Facebook post became more frequent, even though I hadn't seen her or talked to her. And people would reach out to me like me and my mom lived together or something. They'd become genuinely surprised I was homeless at 15. And my mom had been posting about me like she liked me or something. I told her if she wasn't in my life, she couldn't pretend like she was. It was getting weird when she was taking my pictures and posting them as her own. It had stopped for a while when I had put my foot down around 17 or so. And I found it unsettling she was posting pictures of me and her other kids on the same Facebook. She posts content for attention, mostly by men. I had quite a few times when men from her Facebook would HMU and say, I see you're looking sexy like your mama. Because she didn't care what she was posting next to her kids' faces. I've tried to have a relationship with my mom twice since then. I don't believe I'll try again because I'm shaking writing this. I hardly put a sparkly comment under one of her Facebook comments. But I really like putting my thoughts out, like this, and hearing others' opinions about this. My mom had posted a bunch of baby pictures, and someone in the comments had asked if I was okay, so I responded, yeah. She just doesn't ever reach out unless it's a Facebook post. I've made a few comments like this over the years because I know it gets under her skin, and sometimes she'll remove comments or take the whole post down. But I do feel like an asshole teenager still, leaving my attitude on my mom's post because I'm just an upset kid. Sometimes I just like writing shit out here.